What's up guys, let's talk about Season 3 in Diablo 4 and why it needs to be amazing. This is going to be a very huge breakpoint for Diablo 4. So, the new season is actually coming out relatively soon. Next month we're going to be getting the new season, and on top of that, we do know that there are going to be some newer things coming out, and I want to go over those newer things and why it's actually one of the most important seasons to ever come out in this game. So, starting right off, I'm hoping that they don't have some sort of like area where it's like you go to this newer area, instead of it being purple or, you know, green, it's just a different color. You go there and there's reskin monsters, and then we get some sort of new like powers. I want there to be an actual in-game seasonal mechanic that you can actually engage in. Season 2 had the ability to have these brand new uber bosses that you can farm for some of the rarest things in the entire game, finally getting our hands on some really powerful things. And I think this was a great addition, but this more likely may not be the same level of scale. I hope we get a bunch of brand new uber bosses that drop a bunch of brand new uber uniques, but the thing is that now that we've had our taste on it, do we actually want to farm them again? I've seen a lot of people complain about, well, in Season 3 I don't want to farm Duriel anymore. It was so much of a pain to finally get that uber unique to drop. And while I will say that yes, some of the uber uniques do have a insanely low drop rate, at the end of the day, I think the change to adding like all of the different like malignant rings, all of these were a really nice change. But getting the same item again after farming for like, you know, 20, 30, maybe hundreds and hundreds of runs to get some of these uber uniques that maybe you need for your build, right? Some of these can be very frustrating to farm all over again just to get the same item, and hopefully we have some newer content to consume. And there is newer content to consume. So what I'm showing you guys, just as a heads up, is subject to change. This is for the newer season in Diablo 4. So keep in mind, this was like in development right here, what you're about to see. This is for Season 3. So as far as Season 3 goes, we do know that there's going to be some sort of a leaderboard. There are basically different rewards that you can actually get, and there's some sort of point system tied to it. You can see there's like 641 in this picture here. Now, as far as the rewards, you can see that it looks like there's some sort of legendary icon. We're going to expect to see new legendary aspects. We're also going to be expecting some new uniques in the game, but also the uber unique. How powerful is that going to be? And is it going to be more creative, or is it going to just be numerical stats, right? That's something that I'd have to think about in terms of me wanting to play the season, because while I want to say Season 2 was a great step in the right direction, the Abattoir of Zir, it's not what I think a lot of players want. Just look it up. Everyone is pretty disappointed with that. I want to say overall it's pretty negative in terms of the reception. A lot of people are just like, dude, I'm not even going to be playing. I'm not even going to start Diablo Abattoir of Zir because it's just too frustrating. I've seen so many people complain about it. So they'll do like a couple sigils, maybe die, and they're never going to get that glyph to level 200. No one realistically is more than likely going to get that glyph unless they're like botting. But there is supposed to be, there's sort of this seal of the worthy, and these will be changing every week. So if there's new content to consume every single week for the game, similar to maybe, let's say, the challenge drifts in Diablo 3, you can see over here that we have this screenshot. There's like different leaderboards here for specifically like the classes, and then looks like there's duos, trios, and then you have like a full squad of 4 people. And I think this is a great change. Hopefully this will be something implemented with the clan, as the clan system in this game, well, you know, what's the point of the clan? You have basically an extra chat box. That's really about it. And I think that that really needs to be addressed, because there's no point for you to group up with your clan members. You can't like trade items with your clan. You can't do anything. Where's the raids? This was actually leaked for the next expansion. If it's going to take several editions of the game to be able to do something with your clan, I think that's a little bit too late. And I think that we are hungry for more content, even though we just got the Abattoir of Zir, and there is also the Midwinter Blight. Here's what we kind of know. There's supposed to be some sort of gauntlet system that is getting added to the game, and it only becomes available in World Tier 4. So this is arguably newer endgame content, so I think that that is pretty cool, and it's going to have some sort of layout where it's exactly the same, so you are, I guess, competing against other players for a speedrun mechanic, maybe similar to the Abattoir of Zir, but as you're supposed to like collect these little like points, there's these monsters and chests, they drop something, and then you have to like acquire these, and there's going to be some sort of leaderboard. I just showed you guys the screenshots, but there's also this little like reward system over here that they had, and I think the rewards could be a little bit better. Here's what the rewards are. So they're frames around your character. I'm curious, do you guys feel like that this is good enough for rewards? I think some sort of armor or some sort of horse that would be more substantial than a little icon that you can, you know, open up in Photoshop, hit Control U, and then just change the color on it. There is, I guess, little swords and little like armor icons here, but keep in mind this is not like final, but at the end of the day, this is supposed to be the newer things that we're getting. It's little like border portraits that you would get in, let's say, Diablo 3. If I'm trying to compete on the leaderboards, I kind of want more than that, but again, let me know how you guys feel about this. Maybe I'm wrong. This is like super exciting to see a little portrait on your character icon to have different colors. As far as other reasons why this is actually a very important time frame for the Diablo franchise is we are actually getting Last Epoch, more than likely in between, because, well, the set release date for Last Epoch, another action RPG, is February 21st, and then obviously Path of Exile is having its expansion, Affliction, coming out very, very soon, and that's going to be running in the middle of the newer Diablo season. And on top of that, another thing that I want to like address and kind of talk about is, are they going to be nerfing all of the crazy things that came out? Because they said they weren't going to be nerfing anything, and then they decided to nerf Melted Heart of Selig. Well, I want to say that this was definitely not intended to work the way that it's working, where people can become immortal in the game in PvP, but PvP is not a system where I think a lot of people play. I wish that they would actually support a full-on PvP ranked that have duos, you know, you could do clan PvP battles, have some sort of system where like there's these domination points and you have to control them, and you could have like a full-fledged endgame activity for specifically PvP. I've been trying to talk to them about that as a Diablo partner, and I'm hoping that soon we will get some sort of like structured PvP where we actually can play and we can actually get some sort of rewards, because what's the point of doing PvP in the game? There's no like leaderboard, there's no like bragging rights, but again, hopefully things will change for that. But as far as nerfing uber uniques, they are already doing it. And on top of that, are they going to be nerfing all of the crazy one-shots? This is what I'm thinking about, because if you think about how long it takes to get some of these uber uniques and some of the things required for these builds to get like perfectly rolled, it's going to be very disappointing to hear that, well, now it no longer works, right? Like, for example, even though some things were not intended, let's admit, the Melted Heart was probably not intended to be like this, but they decided to nerf it, right? And then if we go to like the one-shot rogue build that I upload, this is definitely not intended as well. Like the Tybalt is not supposed to give you way more combo points, and you can literally one-shot Uberlith. In fact, Uberlith is probably a boss fight that I think should actually drop some stuff. But the fact that these exist still in the game make me think that, well, are we allowed to have all of this crazy power, or is this all going to be removed in the next season? Because that could lead to people not wanting to play the game. One of the core philosophies that they mentioned with Diablo 4, this was posted at Blizzard. They had like a poster. Their core philosophy for Diablo 4 was to shift up the meta every single season. Does this mean Inferno will actually be good for once? And looking at the feedback for the Abattoir of Zir, a lot of people, as of right now, like I said, on Reddit, it is crazy. Or if you just look at YouTube, just type in Abattoir of Zir feedback, it is almost all negative. And it seems like sometimes they'll take a step in the right direction with, of course, adding all of the Uber bosses and stuff. But then they released the Abattoir of Zir, hyping it up, and it is just like impossible to level this glyph up. And a lot of people are like, dude, I'm taking a break. I'm not playing until Season 3. That's why this is very important, because if people leave your game because you release an update like the Abattoir of Zir, which just seems like it's impossible, it feels like it's a mobile game design decision in order to get more powerful, it feels like it's impossible. Now, I understand there's not a way for us to pay money to upgrade this glyph, and the glyph gets deleted anyways. That's why people are really upset with the direction this game is going with, just play for like 30 days straight and you can finally maybe get this glyph to be, at the max level. And maybe it's not their intention to let us actually level up this glyph, but I want to see the game developers that are releasing this update with how hard it is to actually get to this point, because remember, they released the Abattoir of Zir update, which everyone's super upset about, in the middle of the season, to a point where like we can't even level up this glyph to the max. Even if we were to play every single day, 24 hours, you could barely even reach it. I think at the moment, as far as we're aware of, it's like 27 days straight. And remember, we only have so much time before the glyph gets deleted too. Like that's what drives me crazy with this. So if people are saying I'm leaving this game because of its current state and Season 3 isn't hype, then that's a huge problem because, you know, people are just going to forget about the game. You know, again, Last Epoch's coming out. We already have the Path of Exile expansion. This is huge if people are leaving your game right now because of a more recent update. And people are saying, like, we need some loot explosion. Is it even possible to level this thing up? Like, they're saying it's impossible, basically, because it realistically is pretty impossible unless, again, you're using a bot or you share an account with, like, several family members and you guys are grinding 24/7. And then that's counting also that you don't have to go back into the nightmare dungeons, because this is what I find very backwards with the game design decisions that they released with the most recent update. If we want to engage in the new content, we have to go do the old content. That is so wild that, like, okay, well, you don't have enough powder, you can't even play the Abattoir of Zir consistently. So this needs to be something that is addressed. We need, I want to say, the Diablo partners to maybe tackle and be able to test this newer season, hopefully before it comes out, to give them good feedback, because sometimes so many things are releasing in this game where it feels like we are the testers in the game for the new season, and then they're like, okay, we're updated. Like when the new bonus XP came out, oh, sorry guys, it's showing up as like 25% instead of 35. Okay, well, we released the new update. Oh, whoops, our glyphs are like de-leveled. Like, what is going on? There's so many things that just feel like this game is in like an alpha or beta when we are seeing some of the new content come out, and that needs to absolutely not happen, because while they can fix it, it just feels like, dude, what are you doing there? Like, it's like a consistent thing with Diablo 4. Things are just released unfinished and just not polished, that, you know, you kind of expect. At the end of the day, I was going back, I was thinking, well, okay, well, if this season, season 2, you know, came out and it just had the Blood Harvest, that's all we had, we didn't have the new bosses, I would have felt like the season was very, very underwhelming. While I do enjoy the newer powers, what are we doing for the end game? Still doing the kind of the same thing, unless we count the Uber bosses. Now, if we get a whole another set of Uber bosses that can drop a whole bunch of brand new uniques, what are we supposed to do with those? There's no newer form of endgame other than Abattoir Zir, and remember, Abattoir Zir is going away in January, and we're losing out on the glyph. So maybe this is a test cycle for some of these newer mechanics over here, and it's going to be very similar, because remember, this is some sort of new gauntlet where you're going to be having to reset these different leaderboards, and I'm guessing your time to go ahead and get these gauntlet only drops, which are these proof of might things to get points in the system. But yeah, these things definitely need to be looked at as far as like the Tears of Blood glyphs. But I think the most important thing that I want to see, and I'm curious to know, because this is kind of my personal wish list, and I'm curious to know your personal wish list, I want some sort of PvP action, and even if they just copy and paste the Diablo Immortals PvP to Diablo 4, I just want to see some sort of system where I can continuously, like, I get all of my gear, I want to do something with it, right? Because most people can maybe make a build that can one-shot Uber Duriel. This is, of course, not counting the Abattoir Zir, because once Abattoir Zir goes away, what are we supposed to do with our power? We need some sort of form of content, and while we are getting it in some sort of a form over here, when we look at this, it's just going to be, I guess, some sort of like a speed run, but at least you are able to group up. There's, like I said, there's these icons here, but I want to do something with the clan. I think that that is one area that the game really needs to focus in on, because, well, what's the point of a clan? And I don't want to see just like another, like, you know, colored area. But I'm curious to know, what do you guys feel about season 3? But yeah, I think it definitely needs to be a big season, and it is very important to the people that are leaving the game, because we are kind of tired of just doing the Abattoir of Zir, knowing that this glyph is going to be deleted and it takes just an impossible amount of time. But what do you guys want to see in season 3? Let me know down below. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like. If you're new here, hit subscribe, turn that bell, and if there's updates to season 3, I'll let you guys know, but it's going to need to be important. Otherwise, I think a lot of content creators may move on to maybe Last Epoch or into Path of Exile, because this game definitely needs, it desperately needs more endgame things to do. Anyways, take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.